Before 1950, almost everyone dreamed without color. You would close your eyes, you would sink into darkness, and the world behind your eyelids would look like an old photograph, gray, flat, silent. This isn't a metaphor. This was the scientific consensus of an entire era. Textbooks taught it. Researchers built entire theories on it. Psychologists wrote papers about the neurological inevitability of monochrome dreams. In 1942, a psychologist named Warren Middleton asked 277 college students about their dreams. 70% said they rarely saw color, or never saw it at all. They dreamed in black and white, and they didn't think this was strange. It was simply how dreams worked. But here is the part that should unsettle you. Those same students lived in a world of color. They walked through green forests. They watched red sunsets. They ate orange fruit. Their waking lives were saturated with color. Yet their sleeping minds stripped it all away. Why? For decades, researchers had an answer. They believed dreams were naturally monochrome, like silent films, like old photographs, like memories fading at the edges. Calvin Hall wrote about it in Scientific American in 1951. He called the rare colored dream technicolored, as if color were a special effect, a novelty, something artificial injected into an otherwise gray world. By 1958, another study found only 9% of people reported any color in their dreams at all. 9%. The rest of humanity was wandering through a monochrome night. Then something changed. In the early 1960s, researchers began waking people during a REM sleep. Edwin Kahn and his team at Mount Sinai asked dreamers questions immediately. They found something shocking. 83% of dreams contained color, not 9. 83. The moment researchers stopped asking people hours later and started asking them seconds later. The entire story flipped. The questionnaires of the 1940s were administered in the middle of the day. Students sat in classrooms and tried to remember dreams from the night before. Color is the first thing memory drops. It is fragile. It vanishes like smoke. So, which was true? Were dreams gray? Or had we simply forgotten the color before we could report it? This is where the story gets deeper and stranger. In 2002, a philosopher named Eric Schwitzgebel at the University of California, Riverside published a paper that shook the field. He had gone back through centuries of writing about dreams. Aristotle described dreams as colored. Descartes assumed dreams had color. Epicurus wrote that dream impressions had both color and shape. Even Freud, in his massive 1900 work, The Interpretation of Dreams, found color mentioned in half of all detailed dream reports. Before the 20th century, nobody questioned that dreams were colored. The idea that dreams were black and white was a modern invention. It appeared suddenly. It dominated for 50 years. Then it vanished. Schwitzgebel proposed a disturbing explanation. The first half of the 20th century was the age of black and white media, photography, cinema, television. By 1950, nearly every American household had a television, and nearly every television showed the world in gray. People watched gray sitcoms, gray news, gray westerns for hours every day. And then they closed their eyes, and their minds reproduced what they had been fed. The media didn't just shape their culture, it shaped their subconscious architecture. But Schwitzgebel went further. He asked a question that still haunts researchers. If an entire generation can be wrong about the color of their own dreams, what else are we wrong about? What other basic features of our inner lives have been quietly rewritten by the technology we surround ourselves with? The question hung in the air for 6 years. Then Eva Murzyn answered it. In 2008, Murzyn, a researcher at the University of Dundee, designed a study that cut straight to the heart of the mystery. She recruited 60 subjects. Half were under 25, half were over 55. She asked them to keep detailed dream diaries every morning. She also asked about their childhood media. The results were unmistakable. Only 4% of the younger group reported black and white dreams, but among the older subjects who had grown up with black and white television, roughly 1 in 4 still dreamed in grayscale, even decades later. Even after color television had completely taken over, the black and white screen had left a permanent mark. Murzyn found something else. The critical window was childhood. Exposure to colored media before age 11 strongly predicted whether someone would dream in color for the rest of their life, before age 11, while the brain is still building its visual vocabulary, while it is still deciding what normal looks like. The human brain is most plastic between ages 3 and 10. This is when it learns what faces look like. This is when it learns what the world looks like. If the world on your screen has no color, your brain may decide that color is not essential. It may stop building it into your dreams. If you fed it gray, it learned gray. If you fed it color, it learned color, and it never unlearned it. Think about what this means. Your brain is not a camera. It does not passively record the world. It constructs reality from the materials you give it, and the materials you give it most often are screens. This isn't limited to television. Murzyn noted an avid gamer who reported dreaming as if he were sitting in front of a computer monitor. The screen became the frame. The interface became the architecture. What you watch becomes where you live when you sleep. Today, the average person spends 7 hours a day looking at a screen. That screen is in color, but it is also flat. It is also framed. It is also infinite. What happens when a generation grows up watching vertical videos? What happens when their dreams are cropped into portrait mode? In 2003, Schwitzgebel replicated Middleton's original 1942 questionnaire. He found only 17% of modern students reported rarely or never dreaming in color. The grayscale dream was going extinct. But here's the final twist. Some researchers believe we never truly dreamed in black and white at all. They argue that color was always there, but memory stripped it away. When you wake up, your brain converts the dream into language, and language is terrible at holding color. Try right now to describe the exact shade of blue in your last dream. You probably can't. It dissolved the moment you reach for it. So perhaps the 1940 subjects weren't dreaming in gray. They were simply failing to remember the color. And the black and white media gave them a convenient explanation. A story their minds could latch onto. I dreamed in black and white because I watched black and white television. It felt true. It might not have been. But here is what we know for certain. The technology you grow up with doesn't just change what you see. It changes how you see. It changes what you remember. It changes what you dream. And if a simple screen can rewrite the color palette of your subconscious, what is happening now? What are the smartphones and algorithms and infinite scrolls rewriting inside you? What parts of your inner world are being quietly recolored? While you are awake, while you are unaware, while you scroll. You cannot remember a dream you have never examined. You cannot question a color you have never noticed. The screen teaches you what to expect, and expectation becomes experience. Your dreams are not private. They are edited by everything you fed your mind the day before. Choose carefully what you watch, because your sleeping self is watching too, and it is learning. The screen is not a window. It is a sculptor, and it is working on you right now, even in your sleep.